What you need in the building, people? How's everybody doing? We're going to talk about the weekend fights. There are some fights I did not watch, like Maris Bredis versus Dorticos. I didn't watch that fight. That was a cruiserweight fight, and in the Super Series that they're doing, the round robin. And unfortunately, I didn't get to see that. But we're going to talk about the weekend fights right now. I hope you guys are doing well. I am what you need. You watching my channel. If you like this video and you like the contents of this video, don't forget that you can like, share, subscribe, and donate via Western Union on MoneyGram. As usual, I'm sitting down on the ground. I'm grounded. I have my studio equipment other places. But I decided to sit down here after eating and chill, talk to you guys about these fights. I thought it was great. I thought it was a great weekend. The pay-per-view card was stacked, and the pay-per-view was crazy. Let's start with the first, the first of the two Charlo brothers in that fight. Jamal Charlo has proven, without a shadow of a doubt, I hear excuses out there. I hear people talking in groups. I hear them making excuses about why Derevyanchenko didn't do well. I was disappointed with my man K9 and his review with a lady named, I think it was SB, was her initials. I was disappointed with what they said. They sounded very bitter that Charlo had, dismantled K9. That's what I got from that. But I'm going to go into, anyway, weekend fights real quick. We're not going to spend very long on this. So, first, Jamal Charlo. Jamal Charlo, and I went and I looked, and why I made the prediction that he would stop Derevyanchenko is because after watching the Brandon Adams fight that he had with Brandon Adams, a very skilled boxer, whereas Derevyanchenko don't have all of that. He don't have all of that skill. So I thought that Charlo was going to catch him and drop him and then stop him. He hurt him a couple times. He caught him a couple times, hurt him a couple times, but that motherfucker was tough, and he was able to rebound. Derevyanchenko had difficulty getting into the pocket. He had a lot of difficulty getting into the pocket because Derevyanchenko's style is one in which he's not really a bob and weaver, but he does step around you once he gets to mid-range. Comes off his jab, steps around you, and then he will work on your weak side. That's how Derevyanchenko does, and he circle around you, kind of like Lomachenko and all them other guys. I think Derevyanchenko's from the same country as Lomachenko. He's from Yugoslavia. Is it Yugoslavia? No. It's the same country as the Klitschko's. I can't remember which country that was. It's crazy. But so he steps around you. That's what he do. He as his trainer said, the circle of defense, or the circle of defense. So he goes around you, around you, around you. Okay. Um, he was not able to do that because he was not able to get the range to do that because Jamel Charlo was just timing him with the jab and just popping that jab. And Charlo really showed you how to use a jab properly, and he has a powerful jab. He's a big, very, very physically strong guy. I watched how he handled Brandon Adams, and even though Derevyanchenko's a physically strong guy himself, Jamal was just stronger than him. Okay, could take his punches much easier. The other thing I liked about Jamel Charlo is his defense. Shout out to El C1C1. Okay, El C1C1. El C1C1 says, man, we should see Charlo versus Triple G. Charlo will kill Triple G. He'll destroy Triple G. Okay? And it's not, styles make fights. But Triple G ain't getting past Charlo's jab. Charlo got a longer reach than Triple G. He's much taller than Triple G. And he's physically stronger than Triple G. We can see that now. He's a very, very, very strong guy, and he really knows his boxing. And Triple G would have a very difficult time getting to mid-range. Triple G is pretty good with his jab. His timing of the jab is really great, but the problem with Triple G is Charlo would be popping that jab. And then the other thing is, Charlo didn't just pop the jab. He popped the jab on a pivot. He would pivot with his popping, Sometimes he didn't pivot with his popping. And then the other thing is, when you say you're going to try and get to the inside of Charlo, that uppercut is nasty. He can hook off the jab. He can check hook you as he's pivoting. He has all these things so that when you try to close the distance, he's not there at all. You know what I'm saying? Uh, LC1C1 says, yep. After Triple G's last performance, he thinks he would get tagged up by Charlo. Yeah, Charlo, Triple G. There was a reason Triple G didn't want to face Charlo when Charlo was mandatory for the WBC title that he got. There's a reason. There's a reason why Canelo wasn't eager to face Charlo. You know, I'm now looking at Charlo in much more detail, and he has inside game, and he does use the right uppercut. He also uses hooks, and he uses hooks to the body. He had that jab to the body that we saw Jamal Charlo using as well. You know, Jamel Moore, the guy, the principle of the jab, but man, he make it real difficult for you to get to the inside. ELC1C1 says he gets KO'd in a trilogy. Yeah, Canelo will knock him out. Yeah. Canelo will knock him out. But I'm just saying, right now, neither Canelo nor Triple G want nothing to do with Jamal Charlo. They want nothing to do with him. And he's shown why. He has performed the best out of Danny Jacobs, Triple G, you know, and himself. He's performed the best against Derevyanchenko. There's no question that he beat Derevyanchenko. You know, it was a close fight with Danny Jacobs. You know, Danny Jacobs dropped him early. You know, it was a close fight with Triple G. Triple G also dropped him early. But you know, with Charlo, it was like one sided. You know, Derevyanchenko came on hard in the later rounds, but he still got tagged up. Don't forget to smash that like button if you're coming through here and you like what it's doing and you're engaging with me. Smash the like button, man. Show me some love. Don't just come through and talk. So I'm just saying that, you know, Jamel Charlo really did a number on him, staggered him. I think it was three times in the fight. He stunned him in the 12th, in the 8th, and in the 5th. He stunned him. But Derevyanchenko, a tough motherfucker, man. He tough. And he can box. Don't get me wrong. He's a technician. But it's just that Jamel Charlo would pivot with him every time he tried to go to weak side, try to pivot to the outside, try to pop his jab. Jamel Charlo would pop the jab with him, having the longer reach. He would get to him quicker than he would get to Jamel Charlo. It was very scientific what Jamel Charlo did. And what I loved about Jamel Charlo, he kept his composure like a veteran of the sport. It really kept his composure. Shout out to C1. C1. C1 says, yeah, I actually think Derevyanchenko beat Triple G. Yeah, I thought so too. I thought he beat him up bad too. And Derevyanchenko tried to do his thing against Jamal Charlo once he got to the inside, you know, throw a whole set of combinations, relentless and stuff. But again, most of them didn't hit Jamal Charlo, and really the more effective punches was coming from Charlo on the inside, which is why Derevyanchenko would lay off of him again and go back to the outside. I saw the same thing with Brandon Adams. Actually, Jamal Charlo, you know, he tags you up inside of there. He actually gets position on you on the inside, which for a tall, long guy like that, you know, is really exceptional. It's really something that's really great. He rips uppercuts on the inside. You know what I'm saying? He's dangerous, and he's so physically strong. He can push you off with his forearms on the inside to get the space that he wants. So you know, Jamal Charlo, sorry, did an excellent job. I predicted that he would stop Derevyanchenko. He did not stop Derevyanchenko, but he did an excellent job against Derevyanchenko. LC1C1 says, them uppercuts, man. I'm saying, man, they were brutal. They were brutal. He really beat Derevyanchenko up. Derevyanchenko face looked like a mess, you know, and I think he should have done a little bit more body work, but you know, you popping the jab to the face, popping the jab to the body, mix it up a little bit more. I think he could have got him out of there if he wasn't so eager to get him out of there. At certain points in times, he really wanted to just try and knock him out, and he probably shouldn't have done that. He shouldn't have tried to go for the KO, which is what Randy Shields was saying in the corner. Ronnie Shields was saying in the corner. Randy Shields was like, "Hey man, just keep your composure, man. It'll come to you. The knockout will come when it come." You know what I'm saying? But Jamal Charlo, man, he showed me a lot more dimension to him, and I did see it in the Brandon Adams fight. But I was thinking that Brandon Adams wasn't all that, not realizing Brandon Adams came up from 154 to 160 to fight Jamal Charlo, and he was a smaller guy. And I mean, Brandon Adams showed me so much skill in that fight. And so I wish the Brandon Adams goes down to 154 because I think he could pick up a title. He could pick up definitely pick up a title down there. Shout out to uh uh J Home, man, help me pronounce your name. Is it J Home Miles HD? So you got Charlo beating Canelo now. I have him higher now than Demetrius Andrade. I'm gonna tell you why. He's very much a threat to Canelo. He's very much a threat to Canelo. Demetrius Andrade was always a threat to Canelo, and now I changed my opinion on him. Yeah, he's a guy that could beat Canelo. I would love to see the fight. That's what I love to see because he's got things that can neutralize Canelo on the inside. He's a guy that can keep Canelo at bay if he needs to. He's got the tools to beat Canelo. I'm not saying he would beat Canelo. I'm just saying he has the tools to beat Canelo. Canelo does all kinds of shit. Okay, he rolls punches. He does all kinds of shit. Okay, I seen him get right up on Danny Jacobs. Danny Jacobs is not as sharp. He's not as strong as Jamal Charlo. If Jamal Charlo faced Danny Jacobs, I favor Jamal Charlo to win. If Jamal Charlo at this point in time, after seeing that performance against Canelo, I favor Canelo to win because of experience and just the things that Canelo do. But I wouldn't be surprised if Jamal Charlo beat him. I wouldn't be surprised if Jamal Charlo beat him. You know, and it would validate why Canelo is not eager to face Jamal Charlo. And by the way, a little bit of history for you guys. Jamel Charlo was promised by Golden Boy that he would face Canelo Alvarez. Okay, that was the contracted agreement that they had, informal, of course. Uh, El Swan C1 says, yeah, without clauses, man. Yeah. Well, there wouldn't be no rehydration clause and all of that. They had to go straight up at each other, probably 168. But Jamal Charlo will handle it. I mean, I'm not, I'm not I'm not high on David Benavidez beating Canelo. I think David Benavidez got a lot of game he have to learn. Okay, I never really seen him use an inside game and do a great job. He have a decent jab. He's out of shape. When I see him fighting fights, he always looks kind of flabby-ish. Man, I think Jamal Charlo beats David Benavidez, and I don't care how much size David Benavidez has. I think Charlo's very very strong. I think he beats David Benavidez. With respect to, I know David Benavidez is a much bigger guy though. But Canelo, I think Canelo actually would beat David Benavidez for sure because of the inside game he lacked. Charlo have inside game. Charlo has inside game, and he gets guys off of him on the inside. So you had to go in and out on Charlo. You can't just, you know what I'm saying. LC1C1 says Caleb Plant the man to beat. Caleb Plant again. He's another young fighter that has the skills to beat a Canelo. Definitely, 100%. Caleb Plant, Billy Joe Saunders, Demetrius Andrade, and Jamal Charlo. These are real live threats to Canelo. These are the guys Canelo should be chasing after. These are they the real deal. And if you really want to go up to 175, we got some guys again that will give Canelo trouble. We got Bevo, Dmitry Bevo. Again, Dmitry Bevo, he's kind of like a Derevchenko. You know, like if I saw Canelo versus Derevchenko, I got Canelo winning that fight because Derevchenko, he do a lot of pivot work, you know, go around you, but he don't bob and weave. He don't really slip and slide. Oh yeah, he does slip and slide. Sorry, my bad. He slips and slides, but he does not bob and weave. Um, you know, he dips, you know, he'll slip and dip, but he'll slip and slide, but he don't bob and weave. So he will pivot around you, go weak side, kind of like Lomachenko. All them guys from the same area. Lomachenko and all those guys are from what country? You guys help me out here. What country is that? But Caleb Plant will give Canelo a lot of problems. He again is a very skilled boxer, and he just sharpening up his tools and sharpening up his game. Caleb Plant, Billy Joe Saunders is a problem, you know, for Canelo. Those guys are all around boxers. Billy Joe Saunders can fight on the inside, on the outside, mid range. Billy Joe Saunders got it all. Um, you remember what Billy Joe Saunders did to Andy Lee, and nobody does that to Andy Lee, you know, except for Peter Quillen who did it, you know. Um, and Andy Lee was the champ at the time. So Billy Joe Saunders is a real deal. Boxing wise, I'm not talking about his personality and all of that. J Holmes Mal says, I'm impressed with Charlo, but I'm not sure he can hang with Canelo on the inside. He not gonna try and hang with Canelo on the inside. He gonna do his game. You know, he's an outboxer. But them uppercuts, man, and them hooks to the body, and he got sharp hooks to the body, and his right counters to the head and shit. You know, my Canelo, I mean, you Canelo. I mean, he hits hard, man. He hits hard. Okay, and he's what's nice about Charlo is he's gotten an opportunity to grow as a fighter. For example, he fought Matt Korobov, who was just throwing that lead right and catching him with the lead right from the southpaw stance, and he learned from that fight, so he was able to make adjustments with that. Then he had the Brian Adams fight where he learned from that fight. You know, Brian Adams is a much more skilled boxer than Canelo because Brian Adams can not only fight on the inside, he can also fight on the outside. Okay. And he reminded me a little bit of Sean Porter, but he's much more classy. He's a lot more refined. He's a lot more skilled, in honed skills than Sean Porter is. And so, and when you got a 154 pounder duking it out with you and you can't even hurt him, you can't even touch him. He got caught with some really hellacious shots later on in the fight, but he got a good beard too, and he be riding the punches. That's impressive. That's impressive. And I guess he's going to keep Brandon Adams as a sparring partner if he has to face Canelo, because Brandon Adams, man, he got skill. That boy got skill. He could definitely dominate the 154 division if he so desires, because he got it all. I remember the fight where he got stopped in the not the contender series, whatever it was called, by the dude who he get knocked out. He was on the verge of knocking the guy out, and the guy caught him with a jab or something, and that was it. And they say his weight wasn't, he wasn't he had to drop 12 pounds before he had to fight. But my thing is, that's besides the point. The point is his defense was open, and that's why he got dropped. But generally speaking, he's really polished and he's really skilled. You know what I'm saying? But him, if he was a little bigger, but he's not a little bigger. He's not a 160 pounder. So Jamal was able to kind of physically move him around a little bit on the inside. With Canelo can do all kinds of shit. We all know this. But here's what Canelo's weakness is. Canelo is not a guy who is light on his feet and boxes all around the ring. Yes, Jamal Charlo fights flat-footed, but he can also fight on his toes. He can also box. And we saw that with Jamel Charlo when he faced Jason Rosario, right? You saw Jamel Charlo was moving on his feet and he was boxing him. And Jamal Charlo can do the very same thing. And the thing with these... Right, so we are back. Sorry about that, guys. Let me see what you guys are saying. LC1C1 says, that would be a lot closer than what we think. But I do believe if Canelo can hurt Sergey, he can get him out of there. Canelo's head movement, plus Canelo always finds a way to neutralize the best tool of his opponents. Right, they'll have a game plan. At least a game plan for Charlo. I think so. But again, head movement's not everything. You got to slip and slide. You got to get to the inside. Canelo is explosive. But what I was saying to you guys is, Canelo he's not really on your toes kind of fighter. So excessive movement around the ring and stuff gives him some problems. You know what I'm saying? If you're engaging him, it's different. So if Charlo decides to keep his reach advantage and move around the ring with Canelo, like, moving around. Yeah, let me see what else you guys are saying here. LC1C1 says Canelo can fight as a southpaw, but he never shows it in his fights. Yeah. I just think Canelo is too basic. I think Charlo's too basic for Canelo. Only boxers like Abubu Andrade and Billy Ho Saunders have the best chance to beat Canelo, in my opinion. Nah, that's not true. That's not true. Charlo is not basic. He's anything but basic, man. Man be check hooking off the pivot, and he be pull counting you, and he be throwing the lead right hand with the jab, and he feint the right hand, he show you the right hand, throw the right uppercut. I mean, his movement with you, how he even rolls certain punches. He get caught flush sometimes, but oh no, he's anything but basic, man. In his movement in the ring, his quickness, how he maintains distance, how he uses the pivot work. No. Y'all need to watch this dude. You need to watch him and study him. It's different. It's different. LC1C1 says Chris Eubanks can also pull it off, in my opinion. Against Canelo? Nah, not him. He's a volume puncher. He's strong and he got volume. Canelo pick him off. Nah, Chris Eubanks Jr. can't beat Canelo. He can't beat Jamal Charlo. You can't just be well conditioned and throwing volume. That's not enough. Not against these guys. Davichenko, that's what Davichenko is good at doing too. He's a volume puncher. He didn't throw a lot of volume against Charlo either. I mean, it was very impressive win by Jamal Charlo, I gotta say. Very impressive win. Don't forget, if you like this video, smash the like button. we breaking it down boxing wise. Boxing wise, I can only talk from boxing perspective. But yeah, my thing is Canelo's really a more of a mid range fighter. Fight on the inside, fight mid range. Jamal Charlo's more of an out boxer, but he can handle himself at mid range and he can handle himself at inside. You know, and that was just a clinic, man. That was a. I love how he's kept his composure. That composure, man. It's a chess game. It's not, you know. Shout out to KP from Casey. What's up, my dude? Charlo looked damn good. He moved his head well. He took some shots from Derevinchenko. Yeah, later on in the later rounds when Derevinchenko took up the tempo, but Derevinchenko took a lot of punishment, man. KP from Casey says Charlo versus Canelo would be a great fight. Canelo has the edge in experience, and Charlo's coming, man. Charlo would, man, that would be an epic fight because Charlo's so strong. He's strong. Canelo's strong, but Charlo's strong too. So that makes for a very, very interesting fight. Just kind of better than the Danny Jacobs fight. Danny Jacobs came on strong later on as well. But Danny Jacobs was cat and mouse game, defense and all of that. But Jacobs was fishing, and Jacobs don't have that kind of jab that I mean, Triple G don't have that kind of jab that Charlo have. Charlo have a fast, powerful, well timed jab. You know what I mean? But Canelo, I mean, that would be an interesting. That's just a very interesting matchup now. Everything changes because Derevinchenko is a excellent fighter. You put Derevinchenko against any one of them guys, Canelo, Triple G, Demetrius Andre, he gonna give all of them problems. But Charlo handled him the best. KP from Casey says Canelo will try to take the jab away by coming over the top of it. Canelo slips punches well too. Um, I don't know if he necessarily would come over the top of the jab. He might even go under the jab, or he might just let Charlo jab to his guard. There's several things he can do because he's more of a counterpuncher type of fighter. But see, if Charlo makes Canelo respect distance, keeps his composure. See, Sergey Kovalev didn't keep his composure, right? Sergey Kovalev was just popping, popping, popping the jab, popping, 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 you know, and footwork that was necessary. But with Jamal Charlo, he keeps his composure. He's very athletic. I think a lot more athletic than Canelo, even though Danny Jacobs is more athletic than Canelo too. But fundamentals of boxing is the thing. Jamal Charlo doesn't just live off the jab though. It's his footwork that's also important to understand because a lot of people, a lot of fans don't understand footwork. Footwork is everything in boxing. Your feet is everything. Ain't nothing else. Everything comes from your feet. All your power, how your angles, everything comes from your feet. Your upper body movement is important too, but everything comes from your feet. That's how your foundation's your feet. And Charlo's got a great foundation. Errol Spence, Jamal Charlo, they all have a great foundation when it comes to footwork. They all can box, right? And they all can also fight to some degree. Uh, I'm gonna talk about Jamel Charlo's fight against Jason Rosario. Okay, KP from Casey says, um, uh, Jacobs doesn't follow instructions from his corner. Charlo seems to be in tune with Shields, and he executes. Yeah, yeah, that's another thing with Danny Jacobs. He liked to fight too much. He liked to fight too much. He gets too excited, and he puts a lot of emotion into his fights. Whereas, you know, Jamal Charlo keeps his composure. He's a very composed fighter. Again, these young bloods, it could tell that they looked at Mayweather a lot, how Mayweather fought his fights. And in fact, people brought comparisons to Mayweather with the Jamel Charlo and the Jamal Charlo fighting, how they kept their composure and just was really calm throughout the fight so they could see everything. Because when you stay calm, you can see everything. You can see and observe everything that your opponent's doing. And therefore, it's still messy in the sense that they still get hit with shots, but you know, you can see that they took that Mayweather training. Jamel doesn't follow the instructions either, but he gets away with it. Charlo wasn't jabbing versus Rosario like James wanted him to, but he got it done. Yeah, I know. But the thing with it is, you remember when you're in the ring, you see, it's not always every instruction is good. Remember, your coach or trainer is just a pair of eyes on the outside suggesting things to you. Remember, you're the one inside in the line of fire knowing if a jab will work And let me tell you why. There were two things people were talking about. They were saying Jamel should have thrown the uppercut on the inside and catch Jason Rosado, right? And the second thing was they were saying that he should have popped the jab more. Jamel was smart enough to understand that Rosado would have started to predict when he would pop the jab. That's why he didn't pop it so much. And Floyd do the same thing. Andrew Ward do the same thing. They don't want to be predictable with the jab. They want the jab to count. That's why he was able to drop Rosado. That's why he was able to drop Rosado with a jab. Because Rosado, first of all, hadn't been seeing that jab a lot. You remember, Jamel wasn't throwing a lot of jabs throughout the fight. He wasn't throwing a lot of jabs, right? But he's reading Rosado, and he's keeping that range without using a jab. He's keeping the distance with his feet. And Rosado he had to come in careful, right? So we're gonna break down the fight a little bit. So Jamel Charlo, he wasn't popping the jab all the time because there are two reasons. He popped the jab too regularly. Rosado's a counterpuncher. He would counter that jab. And Rosado's really good at counterpunching. Really good at it. And we saw it against J-Rock. The other thing is that right uppercut, J-Rock was using the right uppercut on Rosado, and Rosado would counter the right uppercut. He would roll it and then come back with his right to the head or to the body. That's how he hurt J-Rock. So that when people say there's certain fights where you use certain shots and there's certain fights where you just don't use certain shots. You just don't. And if you pay attention, you will notice that Jamel Charlo was not trying to stay in the pocket with Rosario. He wasn't trying to stay in the pocket because that's where Rosario does his best work. He's staying on the outside, come into the pocket, do his thing, and come back out. So he was boxing him, moving around the four corners of the ring, drawing him in so he could counterpunch him. He really boxed brilliant. He boxed brilliant in that fight. He hardly got touched in that fight. And they would do their trade-offs. And he caught him with a temple shot, the same shot that the Jamaican guy from Chicago, he caught him with. Because Rosado, he protects his guards pretty good, but you can catch him on the temple. And he caught him on the temple. And he dropped him. Right? He dropped him early. He didn't get excited. He kept his composure, kept on breaking him down. What was Jamel mostly going to? Most of his shots was to the body, right? He throw hooks to the body or he throw a hook up top. And if you notice, the science behind it is the less you throw. See, this is why pot shotting is preferred over combinations and just being a blood and guts warrior, just throwing a whole set of punches. Pot shotting decreases the risk of you getting countered. And you can pick the guy, you're sniping him, you're weakening him round by round. Jamal Charlo said he knows that the jab to the pit wasn't the jab that really knocked out Rosario. Right? What was the jab that really knocked out Rosario? What was the punch that really? It was cumulative. He was weakening him bit by bit. So when he finally hit him with the jab, he went into a muscle spasm. They say he looked like he got a seizure or something. He went into a muscle spasm because he hit the muscles and they just contracted and he couldn't breathe. He caught him in the breadbasket. Boom. Now it was a little low, but the trauma, the shock of it still hit him, still hit the solar plexus, which is responsible for breathing. That trauma. And remember, he's weakening him round by round. He's weakening him, right? Round by round. Now, I don't know if Rosario, if he struggled to make weight, because he's a big, strong guy. So that could be one of the reasons. But at the end of the day, he's solid. He's really strong. You notice Jamel wasn't trying to trade with him per se. He would trade when it was advantageous to him and he had the advantage on him. He would start throwing off his shots off an angle, always trying to make sure he can get countered. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, when I say off an angle, his head's off center when he's throwing his combinations, right? Not necessarily he's in front of him, but he's off an angle. He's leaning off to an angle, right? When he's throwing off his combinations, he's leaning off. So, and he didn't really fight him on the inside. He didn't infight. That's where Rosario, that's his game. You go infighting with this dude, you get mad. Nathaniel something is the guy's name that stopped him. Yeah, but Rosario, very disciplined, great champion. Both Charlos saying this man's a great champion. They yelled it out to him after. They congratulated him. I never seen Jamel Charlo congratulate anybody. But they knew he was a dangerous guy in there, and they even said it. Jamel said it in the post-fight conference that this dude is a problem for anybody in the division. He's a problem, and it's true. He's a very heavy puncher. Okay, I think he's a heavier puncher than Jamel, but Jamel just used the science, and he's very sharp, and he got that science behind him. So it's not just about stopping a guy with power, but timing, timing. In that fight, it was about all about timing. Let me see what you guys say. Rosario was bearing down on him a lot. Yeah, yeah, of course. But footwork, knowing where you are in the ring, knowing how far away you are from your opponent. He dropped Rosario, so Rosario got his respect immediately. So Rosario wasn't just gonna pour in there on him. And even when he did, Jamel had the footwork to get out of that situation real quick. Because you don't want Rosario wailing on you. And I think J Rock learned that, but a little too late. He had already gotten damaged by Rosario by that point. So Jamel realized footwork was very important, and that was again the foundation is your feet, and that's why he beat Rosario, dropped him like what 3 times in the fight, finished him off in the eighth, right? And everybody's surprised by that jab to the pit, which we all know where that jab to the pit comes from, right? Most young bucks has been watching Floyd Mayweather. That jab to the pit is a very, very underrated weapon. It wears you down, etc. And he really put some force into dropping that jab. And Rosario dropped like a fucking, he dropped like an anvil on the ground, slammed his head into the canvas and shit, tried to get back up and fell back over. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it was really technically really well executed by Jamel. And of course, everybody's talking about him being pound for pound now. LC1C1 says Rosario an animal. He should fight Lubin or Herd next. Yeah, man, he gonna get all the top fights in the world. He was unified champion and everything, but he got to get himself in order first of all. And then the second thing is he's got to watch out for those tempo shots. Just slightly varying your rhythm or tempo in a fight can make a big difference in how you do better or do worse. Coming off a loss, you need something to boost his confidence, and then they need to work on a little bit up on their tempo and rhythm a bit in the fights because he's a bit predictable in how he comes in. His counter punching is incredible, but he's a bit predictable in how he comes in. Again, Jamel was a lot sharper. So Jamel was a sharper puncher, a sharper boxer, quicker than Rosario. When Rosario tried to launch in to kind of cut off the ring to get to him, Jamel had equal foot speed or quicker, and he just maintained that distance real quick. You know what I'm saying? Fought mostly Rosario on the back foot, which was brilliant. Even though he had all that power, he wasn't going to wage no big ass bang out war. Like I said before, pot shotting is the key. And he picked him apart, weakened him up, got him out of there. In fact, I was watching the fight, and I knew the end was nigh. After at the end of the seventh round, I was like, this fight's over. He about to finish him. And then I looked at it, and the moment before he finished him, I didn't know how he was going to finish him, but I thought he was going to catch him with a left hook, actually. The moment before he finished him, I was like, here it come. you could literally say because he weakened him enough. He weakened him way enough. Rosario, you could see Rosario was kind of tired as he was coming at him, and when a boxer they done, and Jamel just took him out. You know what I'm saying? And Jamel been knocking out people, man. With Derek James, man. Derek James be preparing these fighters, man. And Derek James said you could build power, and he wasn't playing. Jamel was not known as a knockout artist, okay? And Derek James has gotten him to the point, and Jamel still got that boxing IQ, that boxing skill, that smarts in there. And so I thought Tony Harris was beating his ass, okay? But Jamel was hurting Tony Harris. He was hurting him. And Jamel just got that patience and that composure. That's the difference. You don't trade with Jamel. Don't trade with him because that's where he flourishes best when you trade with him. But also he showed, he could just initiate an offense, set you up, and get you out of there. He could feint, like he feinted like he was going up top, So the dude closed up, and then when he relaxed and opened out, just as he was opening back out, Jamil went down to the body. You know what I'm saying? KP from Casey says Rosario versus Hurd would be hell. Yeah, I got Jared Hurd on that one. Jared Hurd. Jared Hurd's never been stopped. Rosario will get stopped by Jared Hurd. Jared Hurd is just too. I mean, they two big 154 pounders, but I just think that Jared Hurd's just a beast. Jared Hurd's a beast, and I mean, J Rock, props to J Rock on beating Jared Hurd. You know what I'm saying? Props to J Rock on beating Jared. J Rock knows his boxing. I just think that Rosario, you just don't trade with Rosario in close like that. And remember, J Rock is not J Rock's not the biggest 154 pounder out there. He big 150, but he's not the biggest. I mean, Jared Hurd is the biggest, so I mean, Charlo versus J Rock is good too. I wouldn't complain. I would love to see that. I love to see Jamel versus Mel versus Rock. I would love to see that. I mean, they got a lot of mixing matches. They asked him about the WBO champion, who's with Golden Boy. What's it called? Tixera, or something like that. Patrick Tixera, and he was like, "Hey, man, bring it on. I'll fight Golden Boy. I fight their management. I fight Oscar De La Hoya. I fight Texera." He was like, "Bring it on." But I don't think that he said, "I don't think they're gonna want to sacrifice Texera to me, though." He don't think so. I mean, because remember, he was promised Canelo. He was promised Canelo with Golden Boy, and they didn't fulfill their end of the bargain. So he moved across to PBC. That's why he left Golden Boy and started his own company, Lions Only. They have their own promotion and everything, and they got fighters under them. So, I mean, KP from KC says J Rock is also not with Steven Edwards anymore. Is his trainer? Oh, really? He not with Breadman no more? Wow, that's interesting. He changed trainers. Okay, is what it is. Hopefully for the better. Breadman did brought him up from scratch. Breadman did all the work, so maybe he feels he's outgrown Breadman or something. I don't know what happened, but um, should be interesting though. J Rock is a hell of a fighter. More inside fighter, more inside work, mid range work. But Rosario, man, Rosario can do some work, man. He can do some work. You know what I'm saying? Breadman is a damn good trainer, man. I mean, he brought him from scratch. So yeah, of course he's to become world champion and all that. I mean, come on now. Um, so let me talk about another fight. John Riel Casimero versus what was the kid name? Um, Something Micah. Micah is his surname. The kid wanted the experience. He wanted to work, and he got some work. He came up short. I mean, Casimero stopped him in the third round. Casimero, man, he talked like Pacquiao. He'd be like, I will do my best. People thought he wasn't going to be inspired enough with his young gun and blah, 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 blase. And he stopped him. He stopped him, and then he called out now Inui, so he's gonna want to get that fight, that unification. And I gotta say, Casimiro is underrated as how good he is. This dude just entered into bantamweight. So he was the flyweight, he was a flyweight champion, he was a super flyweight champion, and he jumped up to bantamweight, fought Tete, and washed his ass. And now, he got his little defensive thing. And now he gonna step up and face now Inui. Now Inui is no joke. Let's not make it sound like this is trivial or something. Luis Neri's also in that landscape at bantamweight. He also won his fight. Stopped the dude. So he has some options. He could face Luis Neri. He could face now Inui. Obviously, he wants Inui. And you got Rigondeaux up in there. Bantamweight division is alive. Donier's in there still. So I mean, he's got options. So hopefully he gets the Inui fight. That's what they really want, and we'll see how that goes. LC1C1 says it was a little early stoppage in my eyes. Yeah, well, I mean, what do you want to do? The kid is young. He has a lot of future ahead of him. Why not stop it right there? I mean, you could give him the chance if you want to, but he got a future ahead of him, and it didn't look like he was going to win nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. Casimero, man, three divisional champion, multiple world champion. I mean, there's a lot of experience for this dude, to get that experience from. So hopefully, you don't want to wreck the young fighter. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to wreck him. Let him say, man, I could have gone further. Fine, whatever. But let him learn from the experience. It's a learning experience for him. You don't have to wreck him for that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. E1, C1, C1. Um, yeah, man. So Casimiro fight, and then of course Josh Taylor. A time when he got lots of power, and that's why I said power don't mean shit if you can't use it, right? He got a lot of power in both hands, but he got stopped with a body shot. That must hurt like that, not hurt like hell, but he just couldn't breathe. You know what I'm saying? Took him out of the game. So we had two body shots over this weekend. Took him out of the game. Ninja was gone. All that power meant nothing. And he wasn't afraid. You could see he wasn't afraid of Josh Taylor, but perfectly placed left to the body, left hook to the body. Boom. You gotta love it, man. You gotta love it. Dude was trying to rough him up and everything, but power don't mean shit if you can't use it. And I think a lot of people just don't understand boxing. You see, so everybody talk about, oh, Mayweather, he never used to knock out nobody and blah blah blah. I'm like, dude, man, are you serious? Are you serious? Dude, there's a lot more to boxing than just knocking out people. You know what I mean? It's a definitive way to win. I love it. I love to see knockouts, don't get me wrong. But I mean, come on now. What did you guys think about Chavez Jr. versus Cazares fight? Okay, so I talked about this already. You can go watch one of my videos, but I'm gonna just talk it back to you guys since you guys talking boxing. Basically, I thought that it was a headbutt. It was two headbutts. Like some people say. Jamal Herring even said, "Oh man, they're gonna refer to my fight." It was two headbutts though, and the dude really headbutted him hard the second time and busted up his eye. Now the referee decided to stop the fight, carry him to the corner, even though Chavez was kind of complaining as well. You could see he wanted a way out of the fight, and so the doctor looked at it and said, "Nah, this fight cannot continue." So because of that, that's not Chavez quitting. Okay, he is overridden by that. That wasn't, you know, even though I gotta say he looked at his dad like, yeah, because he wasn't winning the fight. All right, even though the guy was butting him, he was like using his head a lot. He wasn't winning the fight, and the kids are undefeated. Mike, what is his name? Something Cazares. I'm trying to remember his first name, but anyway, he's undefeated. You know what I'm saying? It was a good fight. Um, Chavez looked a little bit slow. He was keep on looping shots and getting countered with jabs and stuff. But it was coming on. The fight was starting to heat up. He was starting to really do some work. He was starting to get it going. And it was an 8 rounder. He was starting to get it going. And a head clash happened. I mean, I can't be mad at him. Once again, I don't think he quit. I hear a lot of people saying he quit. A lot of people go in on Jamal Herring for quitting. I don't think they quit. I think he got a break. Even though I don't think he really wanted to break either. I think he wanted to fight, kind of, but it is what it is. Mario, that's right. Mario Cazares. Thank you, E1, C1, C1. Yeah. I mean, I talked about it. Different people will judge him differently because it's like, oh man, Chavez should hang it up. I put a poll up, and you guys, I think most of you guys say he should hang it up. It's a dangerous business, whatever. I'm just say this. I'm gonna say this again. It happens. It's boxing, but you got to be prepared for whatever happens. And in this case, it went to a technical decision. I think Chavez's body language is probably why it looked like there was nothing else he could do. But Chavez blamed the ref. He said that the ref decided to stop the fight. And the problem with it was, I think Chavez knew there was an intentional headbutt because there was some intentional headbutts going on in that fucking fight. Okay. So Oh, okay. They cut me and then they brought me back. Sometimes in boxing, these things happen in boxing. It's part of boxing. Do I think Chavez Jr. should stop fighting because of that? No, no. That's just my personal opinion. It's up to him. Does he still have the fire under him? Because he's comfortable. He's comfortable. He made a lot of money and everything. He's comfortable now. He don't have to box for the rest of his life. You know what I'm saying? He just doing it because he love it and he likes to grind and the tradition. I mean, Julio Cesar Chavez, the fight before was really putting on a hell of a fight with Jorge Arce. You know what I'm saying? And do it. He even do some boxing on him. He still get popped upside the head. Man, he gets hit in the head so much. I don't understand that one. Julio don't protect his head properly at all. But he does protect the rest of his body very well. He snaps back from punches and stuff like that. But he don't protect his head. And Jorge Arce was just having a field day with his head. But other than that, he was just landing those beautiful body shots on Jorge Arce. I'm saying that Jorge Arce didn't land some body shots and he was very tenacious. But yeah. Okay, the one set of fights that I want to talk about that I did not talk about, okay, is the Super Series with the cruiserweights. Who Maris Brettis won it, and I didn't see the fight, so I can't tell you much about it. All I can tell you, he beat Dorticos, and I'm going to watch those fights later on. But as to my predictions, I predicted that both Charlos would knock out their opponents. I was right about one. I was wrong about the other, but that's okay. And I actually looked at those fights as 50-50 fights for actually a couple of weeks when I heard about the fight. But then when I went and I watched the actual fights and the skill set of the fighters and what they do and their tenacity and all of that, I was able to see that Rosario's gonna get beat and Derevchenko's gonna get beat. Okay. But I appreciate the fact that they gave us a pay-per-view card that was worth the pay-per-view. I appreciate that. So, what you guys looking forward to the next set of pay-per-views that are upcoming on PBC? What do you guys think about that? And if you want, you can leave in the comment section. For those who are live, thank you for joining me and actually talking in this live feed. We like to talk boxing. LC1C1 says, I think he did his job, kept Junior at distance when Junior came in and he hugged. Okay. I just think that leading with your head is not necessarily the best thing in the world. He was a tall fighter just like Chavez, so I don't understand why he was leading with his head and butting him. So I don't think that was a good thing, but hey, the referee is the referee. They do what they do. It's boxing. I'm going to catch you guys later, though. If you guys have no other comments, let me just give some prop outs to you guys before I leave. So LC1C1, KP from KC. What else we got here? J Home, I guess it's J Home Elmaz HD. Man, it was good talking to you guys. I don't think there's anybody else. There's 6 viewers and how to hear you guys talking boxing. Hope you guys enjoy your week and your weekend. Looking forward to more fights, man. J Home Elmaz says, I hope Canelo goes to the PBC to fight Charlo, bro. Man, whatever happens, because it's the court case is still going on. LC1C1 says, I think that Santa Cruz pressure going to be too much for Davis, but Davis got that pop. I don't know. I think that Santa Cruz is going to win that fight. Now I'm looking at his preparation and how he's going about doing. I know he's going to carrying him through hell. So I think he's going to win the fight ultimately in the end. At first I thought, but he's taking it serious. They're really doing a good job with him. Hopefully he's strong enough to make the 130, not too weak. So once he's strong and healthy enough, I think he takes the fight. But Leo, I heard Leo's very explosive. He's very fast. He's probably the best he's ever been. So I expect the best Leo versus the best Gervonta. It's gonna make for a hell of a fight though. But I think Gervonta might edge it. The way how he's preparing. We'll see. I don't know. We have to look until probably up to the day of the fight. I'll be able to tell you what really is going on. But I can't really tell you right now. But I know Gervonta is the more skilled fighter of the two. And I think that Leo, though, is so much more experienced than Gervonta in terms of championship fights and just top level fights that it's really one of those toss ups. There's a lot of factors involved for me to just say, well, Gervonta's going to beat him or Leo's going to beat him because Gervonta is going down in weight to face Leo and that kind of thing. LC1C1 says 50-50 fight. Yeah, it's kind of like You can't really know what kind of fight. But I edge towards Javante now. I think Leo is going to get stretched. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen Leo. I've only heard about what he's doing. I haven't seen him training or anything, so I can't really say for either guy what's really going to happen. I've seen Javante, more clips of Javante. Javante is doing very well, but then again, there's so many. Javante has so much support, and really the best of the best kind of support you could get. So we'll see. But the thing with Leo is Leo's always been well conditioned. So, it's just like when you got a really well conditioned, look at the difference between Derevchenko and Rosario, right? The Rosario started getting in shape and really taking boxing seriously recently. Derevchenko been doing it his whole life. Jamel was able to get rid of Rosario, right? Jamal wasn't able to get rid of Derevchenko. The difference in conditioning and fitness makes a big difference. When you talk Leo Santa Cruz, ain't nobody ever dropped Leo. Leo's never been dropped, ladies and gentlemen. Think about that. Okay? So his conditioning is ridiculous. Tank's conditioning has never been on the level of a Leo's conditioning, because between fights he would blow up and all of that stuff. He the one that we got to see if he can make the distance. The question really is not whether Tank can knock out Leo. The question is, can Tank make it to the finish line with Leo? Because Leo is going to outlast Tank unless Tank hit him with something, special, something different that we never seen before. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, will Leo be able to take Tank's power? Well, he's not going to be able to take it relentlessly and continuously, but yeah, he's well conditioned. Carlos Palomino never been knocked out. For those of you who know who Carlos Palomino is, and he faced guys like Duran. He faced I think he faced Benitez. He faced all kinds of people. But Palomino, you ain't stopping Palomino. You out of your damn mind. Well conditioned athlete. Conditioning. When you meet a well conditioned athlete, you're not gonna just get him out of there, man. We're talking elite guys now. We're talking training that's like hell to go through. You're not just gonna get them guys out of there, right? You know why Rosario got knocked out with a jab to the pit? Because he's not as well conditioned. He not conditioned like Charlo. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, y'all understand this boxing thing is a whole other level, man. When we talk about Andre Ward, put some respect on that name. When you say Floyd Mayweather, put some respect on that name. Them guys' entire career was well-conditioned athletes. Well, not Floyd. Floyd, Paul Spatafore put him up to another notch. But my point is, right? Ward got to see Floyd do it from scratch. You see them Charlo brothers? They're well-conditioned. They don't lapse. They don't trip. They don't cheat. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference between the elite and the normal. You know what I'm saying? You can have skills, but you don't have the conditioning. Talk to my boy. He's a Hall of Famer now. Buddy McGirt. Buddy McGirt. What was the difference? What let him down in the fight against not Terry Norris, Mildred Taylor? Conditioning. He was not as well conditioned. He was beating his ass early. Mildred Taylor was a much more well conditioned athlete than him. Okay, Mildred Taylor made it all the way to the end with Chavez, and he was taking the majority of the punches. Chavez was taking some punches, but not as much as Mildred Taylor. And even though Mildred Taylor was dishing out a lot of punch output, and burning up a lot of energy, it was Chavez who was really hitting him with the punches that count. Them those right counters, those lead right hands. Couldn't miss with the lead right hand. Okay, so I'm just saying, I'm just quoting some guys from different eras and stuff, but I'm just making a point. You are not getting a well-conditioned athlete out of there just like that. You got to hit them perfect and right, and sever their senses from their body, right? What Marquez did to Pacquiao, that don't happen every day. Okay, right? And even then, Pacquiao tripped up on Marquez's foot to even make it even worse. So you know what I'm saying. First of all, the fighter had to fight stupid. He had to run. Pacquiao had to run. It was like, if you run into a brick wall, you run full speed and you hit a brick wall, pow! right? Marcus was throwing a shot, and on top of that, Pacquiao was running into the shot. So, what do you expect? All right, Pacquiao could have had the greatest chin known to mankind. Ain't nobody surviving that. He went to sleep for a minute. A good minute. That shit though, it don't matter how conditioned you are, you ain't getting up from that, right? So people say, "Well, Pacquiao don't have a chin." I'm gonna look at that. Are you crazy? Of course he has a hell of a chin. The man actually got up from that and was like normal. I was like, God damn, that's stuff that kills people. Nobody gets back up from that shit. He got up from it, man. I gotta get Pacquiao props, but definitely brain damage later on in his life. Oh my God, that was a crazy knockout, insane. You know what I'm saying? Unless you got to knock out something like that, you knock out somebody like that, you have to sever basically, you got to sever their consciousness from their body. You ain't knocking out a well-conditioned athlete like that. You're just not. It's just what it is. It's boxing. Okay? It's boxing. Preparation, baby. That's everything. LC1 says Teofimo Lopez versus Loma. I'm leaning with Teofimo. Younger, has power. Loma's getting hit a bit more. Yeah, the writing's on the wall for Loma. I think we all see it. We all see it. I think that's why I think Teofimo is going to knock him out. I think the writing's on his wall. He's getting tagged up too much, and by guys who kind of figured out what the southpaw style is and the rules that Loma has to abide by. But once again, well, Loma's wily. He's a veteran. And even in 15 fights, he's a veteran. And shout out to Isabel Salsa. I'm gonna catch all of you guys in a second. Don't forget to smash that like button. And my thing is this, right? Lomachenko is a hell of a fighter, man. And he's accomplished a hell of a lot in those few fights that he's had. But the thing with him is, if he cannot step around you, his whole game, like I say, all of these, where are they from? Ukraine. Ukraine, that's the word. The Ukrainian fighters, man, all of them, they got this beautiful little footwork that they do. They step around you a lot. All right, that's their thing. It's not so much the upper body movement and the bob and weave and the slip and slide. Hey, they don't really do all of that. They step around you. They will slip and slide, don't get me wrong, but that's not their thing. So Loma's thing is just like Derevyanchenko's thing. Step around you. But you take that away from them, now they got to go straight down the center. And they got to use feints and all that stuff to go straight down the center. And that's where Teofimo Lopez is going to catch him. He takes away his lateral movement. He takes away his stepping around. He takes away his angles. This is what Floyd did to Pacquiao. This is what Jamal Charlo did to Derevyanchenko. Them guys don't do certain things that you need to do when you can't step around a guy. So that's where Lomachenko gonna get. That's what Luke Campbell actually did to Lomachenko for the most part. And then he had to bully Luke Campbell. He had to bully his way into the center. Against Teofimo Lopez, who's sharper, younger, fresher, quicker, smart. He's a smart fighter. It's going to be something for him to have to deal with. And that's where I think I don't think down the stretch Teofimo Lopez is going to do too well with Lomachenko, because the conditioning factor that Lomachenko has. I know Teofimo Lopez is a well-conditioned athlete himself, and Teofimo Lopez is going to different distance with different guys. But I just think that it's better if he gets him early. So I said this fight will end. I picked Teofimo in 5. He going to stop Lomachenko. And y'all going to get shocked. Some of y'all Loma fans going to be shocked about it. And to me, it's just a natural progression of things. You know, it's a bigger weight class. And you're dealing with younger fighters. You yourself are aging and you're fading a bit. You're on the downswing a bit, trying to maintain it. And you have a limited set of skills. I mean, you got incredible skills, but they're still limited to a particular range. If you don't have that range, that preferred range, you really can't do what you really want to do. And then you have to straight up and down start dealing with guys. His conditioning is going to be a big factor in this fight, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, he's an incredible fighter and everything, but I favor Teal on this one. I think Teal takes the torch. I think he becomes the undisputed champion. I think he's the guy to chase. It's a new era. It'll usher in a new era. Just like how the Charlo brothers are ushering in a whole new era at 154. I think these young cats about to usher in their era. And it is what it is. I mean, Loma didn't want to face Devin Haney. Um, Teal been chasing his ass down for the longest while. These young guys, man, they're hungry and they're hungry for success. And, I mean, it's about Loma wants to try and make history, so that's why he's if Teofimo didn't have no belt, Loma wasn't gonna face him. Let's put it that way. He wouldn't want nothing to do with Teo. You know what I'm saying? If he could avoid Teo and face like a Luke Campbell again or somebody like that caliber fighter, sure. So that's how I think about it. I don't know. That I have said from a while back, I think Teo's gonna beat him, and I think it's gonna be by stoppage, and that's how I feel about it. I'm not changing my mind. If Loma proves me wrong, man, I'm happy. I'm happy for him because he is a legendary fighter. But he's legendary already. 15 fights in, he's a legendary fighter. So but if Teofimo stops him, it really wouldn't surprise me because, like I said before, those different factors. Teofimo's right hand is his thing, and he counter punches and comes into range, and he does a lot of things. So I just don't think. It's just one of those things. It's Teal's time. That's how I put it. Jay Holmes says, "Damn, you got that knowledge, man. I try, man. I just listen to the people, man. I listen to Barry Robinson, Million Styles Boxing, now called Dare to Be Great or Greatness. I think it's Learn Greatness. I listen to guys like King Troy, man. Y'all need to check out King Troy, man. Troy Killertainment. These dudes know their stuff. Precise Striking with my dude from Canada. I mean, I look at strength and conditioning channels as well. I myself, I do my little boxing thing, on the side, and I exercise and try to keep myself in shape. So, you know what I'm saying? It's all about boxing, at the end of the day. Let me see what we got here. Did you see all those memes after the KO? No, I actually didn't get to see them, man. Isabel Salsa says, "Hey yo, sing." What the fuck is this? Sorry about the F bomb. Sing Pau do selfie do Bertie, please. The what? The what? The what? J Home Elma says, "What the fuck, Isabel?" Who you got? Campbell versus Ryan Garcia. I got Ryan Garcia. All day, every day. This is not rocket science. Ryan Garcia is fast, but the problem with Ryan Garcia, why I said Campbell gonna have a problem. Campbell gonna have to do his homework on Garcia. He has some vulnerabilities, but Garcia is fast. Okay, they're just like it's totally just like two different dimensions of foot speed and hand speed. So it's like Campbell really he don't know what he's stepping himself into. Garcia's going to dust him. He's going to dust him. I'm telling you now that this is not rocket science for me. I think that Eddie Hearn's going to feed Campbell to Garcia. Garcia's going to dust him. Period. Campbell got to prove me wrong. LC1C and Ryan Garcia is improving so much, from the time I first saw him, but he does have some flaws. He needs to work on that. LC1C1 says, "Same here. I think in the fifth, Loma's going to sleep, but that's only if Fimo can catch him. He gonna set him up and knock him out. I mean, he gonna have to come. See, he got to make Loma come down the center. And anytime, listen to me. Anytime he starts backing up Loma, don't let him circle out. Go right after him. But don't give him weak side. That's it. Don't give him the preferred place he wants to go. Make him go somewhere else. Make him do something else. And Loma will have to show us something different. He gonna have to be strong as fuck too." LC1C1 says, "Haney versus Fimo will be another good fight." Shit, I would love to see that. I would love to see Teofimo Lopez versus Devin Haney. I would love to see that. Man, I would like to see Lopez versus Haney, Garcia versus Lopez, Garcia versus Haney, Tank versus Haney, Tank versus Lopez, Lopez versus Garcia. I mean, shit, man. Them young guns, they on the verge of running things. You know what I'm saying? It's totally different era, totally new set of players about to come out on the scene, and it's about boxing about to get flamed, about to get flamed. You know what I'm saying? Shakur Stevenson, how could I forget him? He gonna join in that too. Shakur sharp as hell too. God damn. Lomosexuals aren't ready for that conversation. I mean, I get why they're Loma fans. So shit. If Loma could pull this off and run with them young boys, I'd be very impressed. I'll be very impressed with him. So, I mean, I'm not trying to pick against Loma or anything. It's just I think about what Tio can do, and I think about what Southpaws do, and I think about the opportunity that presents itself if you got to go straight up and down. So if you keep Loma honest, you don't have him going backdoor on you. He's got to come through the front door, and that's where Tio does his best work when you're coming straight down the center at him. So, I mean, that's Teal's game right there. Loma's gonna have to have some wrinkles and stuff to be able to really get past that kind of game. So we'll see if he could do it. I'm not. I like I said before. I favor Teal to win by knockout, but don't get me wrong. Loma's not a guy that just gonna lay down and let you trick him and get you into that. He's gonna have a game plan too. So don't get it twisted. He might impress us to the extent of which I think I assess him. I might have underestimated him. Tariq H says, "What's up? What's up, Tariq H? Shout out to everybody. Don't forget to smash the like button." LC1C1 says Campbell's going to stop Garcia. Nah, nah. Well, actually, there's a possibility of that happening based on a certain flaw Garcia has, but I don't think so. Nah, Garcia's going to knock him out. I think Garcia's. I mean, Campbell's not a guy that's easy to knock out because he's going to find ways to survive and make sure he gets his composure back. But he's shown it against the two best fighters, of the division, against Lomachenko, and he also did it against the then number one guy, the number one lightweight. What's his name? Linares, right? Linares. So I mean, he showed he's durable. He might get dropped. He's a dogged-minded guy, and he want to win. So I mean, I don't see why that might be. But I think Garcia's gonna blitz him. He not even gonna get a chance. Like if Garcia's gonna blitz him, he's gonna eat him up, and he set him up and eat him up. Um, Garcia's still not ready for Tank, Shakur, or Devin Haney. I mean, I mean, he fought Devin Haney in the amateurs. Let's put it that way. So I don't see why not. I mean, he game. I'm telling you, man, we got an exciting set of lightweights coming up. C1 says he keeps his chin up. Yeah, that's the problem. And Campbell can catch him in exchanges. Yeah. That's why I heard you. I knew you were coming with that. He should make the adjustments. I hope he does. Yeah, but he does keep his chin up. Campbell could time that. J Homel Mas says, you're right though. I see a lot of people sleeping on Garcia. Like the majority of people that I talk to think Campbell's going to dog walk Garcia. No, I don't think so. And even if he does, it'll just set up opportunities for Garcia to counterpunch him. I mean, Campbell got good timing. He got good footwork. Don't get me wrong, but he's not the strongest guy in the world. You know what I mean? He's not the smartest guy in the world. You know what I'm saying? So it depends. J Homel Maz HD. Tariq K says, is Ryan ready for Tank, Shakur, or Haney? I don't think so. I mean, he's getting ready, so we'll see. 78 Sports TV Junior. I don't know what that means. Salute, brother, from the mighty LGBT. Shout out to you, brother. LGBT in the building. Shout out to the LGBT community. Terry H says, what about Shakur Stevenson? A bad motherfucker, man. He's a bad motherfucker. He's sharp as tack. I mean, I seen him. I see what he do. That boy, he's bad. And again, a lot of people say, well, he don't have all those knockouts. What does knockout have to do with it? It's skill. You got to know when somebody's he's just a bad motherfucker. He's just bad. Sorry about the F-bombs. Tariq H says, if two wins He wins by knockout. I don't think he gonna win on the cards. Yeah. Tio. Um, yeah. I see what you're saying. I mean, he could win on the cards. You just never know. It depends on how the fight goes. Remember, Loma can take a punch too. So you never know how the fight goes, but it might favor Tio all the way to the end. And Tio does have that conditioning to go all the way to the end. It's just, we just think that, again, he does not. The one thing I like about Tio Loma, he don't see Loma like how a lot of people see him in awe and shit like that. He can break him down. He understands what Loma does, so they will have a game plan for him. That's all. Loma's a fantastic fighter, but he builds everything off a weak side, attacking you weak side. So once you understand that and understand he has to have a particular range to do that in, you can take away all his best attributes because he's a mid-range fighter. Tio is a mid-range fighter too and an outside outboxer, but I'm just saying, Tariq says, when is that fight going down, Loma and Tio? In October, next month. Next month. It's on next month. Loma ain't ready for Tio work. I gotta say, I mean, he ready. I mean, he ready in a way. Okay, yeah, absolutely. You are absolutely correct in a certain respect. I'm not gonna say why. I'm gonna just keep that to my chest. But and that's why I picked Tio in 5. I'm gonna keep that to my chest. I ain't gonna talk about that. That's information that after the fight I can talk about. But I'm gonna say this for all you Loma fans out there. He's equipped with the ability to feint an opponent, and everything's about timing in boxing. So it's not like Loma can't come down the center on Tio. I'm not saying that at all. You know, Loma's good at doing all kinds of things, and one of the things he's able to do, and if you know by looking at the footage of him from Fight Hub, Loma knows how to literally maneuver the hands of his opponents. Like he knows how to like slap down the hand or control a fighter's hand, knock it to the side, etc. And if you look at footage of Loma when he's wrestling his brother or the trainer that's working with him, you will notice that he knows how to resist a clinch if you're trying to come in to clinch him. That's what that wrestling is for. He also knows how to maneuver your body and turn your body a particular way. So don't get it twisted. When I say that Tio could beat Loma, it doesn't mean that Loma doesn't have all these subtle things. That's why I say he's a great fighter. There's a lot of subtlety to Lomachenko. But the thing with Lomachenko is he can only do it and really be truly effective at a particular range. That's the problem. Not saying that he can't fight on the outside and outbox or fight off the back foot and all that kind of jazz that they talk about. No, I'm talking about Lomachenko is able to do a lot of things. They call it the craft of boxing. He's very crafty. So I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. So go watch this Fight Hub video. Loma, what is the word? Loma something matrix, I think it is, or Loma disclose or some kind of thing like that, right? And it's Fight Hub TV. And he literally tells you some of the things that he does in that ring. He literally tells the young boxers that are standing by, he shows them and he demonstrates how he goes from one side of the body to the next side of the body, how he goes weak side on an opponent. And so he would slip a punch, then he will go, for example, to your weak side, which would be jabbing hand. So if I'm an orthodox fighter here, this is my jabbing hand right here. He'll go this way, right? But he could also go the other way. And how he does this is he'll feint like he's going this way or he will stay just outside range, right? Bait you with the jab, maybe a double jab or a jab, whatever, and make you throw your right hand, and then he'll just pivot off past your right hand. So if this is my right hand here, I throw my right hand, he's gonna go that way. Okay. And then that becomes a weak side. So that's how he do it. It's really brilliant. And he also will like roll under punches. So like say for instance, he's over on this side of me, right? Because it's my jabbing hand here. He goes on this side of me, right? Because I threw the jab. He hit me with 2 punches. By the time I turned this way, he rolled. I try to throw a jab at him or even try to throw a right at him. He'll roll under me. He'll roll under me like this and go to this side of me now. This side. And he pop off 2 punches there. That's where he becomes the Matrix. Because you just playing catch up all the time. You always turn it into a punch instead of, and that's how he mesmerizes his opponents. It's all at mid-range. Brilliant. Like I said, I studied this dude. So I know how to beat him because I know if you could stop him from going one way or the other. Now, but the thing about it is, it's tricky. I'm gonna explain something. You see, I say the game plan, but the game plan ain't easy to execute. Okay, one of the tricky things about Lomachenko is this, and I always loved it, is that Lomachenko, he feints you. He can feint you 4 different ways in 1 second, and got you going to do something, going to and freeze you up. And once he freezes you up, that's when he can do his magic. So he's really, or he gets you to elicit a punch, bait you, and then counter you, and he does it very fast. Like he does everything rapidly, and like almost like a algorithm or a video game. So he'll blah 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 blah, and then you do something, and he just go around you real nice and smooth and easy. And he can take up the tempo, he can take up the pace. It's like he's running all these different algorithms. Okay, we're gonna run this, and then we're gonna run that, and then we're gonna run this, and then we're gonna run that, and he just do it one after the other. That's what makes Lomachenko. That's why guys quit on him. Because he just keeps coming, and he does so. And you always feel like you behind, and like you drowning in a sea of confusion. Because you get bop upside the head, and you don't know where you're getting bop up. That's the beauty of Lomachenko, okay? But you take away his preferred range from him, all of a sudden he can't do all that shit. You know, like Pacquiao does some of that. Pacquiao will bop you upside the head here, and you say like you've seen 12 hands, right? Because he's one place 1 second, and he's another place another second. It's the same. It's the same sort of thing. 78 Sports TV Junior says, I want all the smoke with the homosexuals. I'm definitely putting money on Tio by Brutal Kale. All right. LC1C1 says Linares was able to catch him because he took his ankles away. He would move with Loma. If Fimo can do that, that boy is the future. Well, the only problem with Linares was he was turning too late. He'd wait till Loma starts to turn, and then he would turn with him. And what he didn't do was space out. What I mean by that is, if Loma take 2 steps forward, you should take 2 steps backward, but you should take it on a pivot. What I mean by that is, you're forming like an arc. So you take away his weak side from him. So let's say he advanced on you. Remember, he's looking for lead foot dominance, right? It's just textbook stuff that Loma do, okay? He's looking for lead foot dominance. So when he advanced to you, okay, boom, boom, right? He advanced to you. You're supposed to take 2. Shakur Stevenson does this. He shuffled 2 steps forward, you shuffle 2 steps backward. But when you shuffle 2 steps backward, watch at my background, right? See what the Jesus poster is, right? I shuffled 2 steps back. You see, I shuffled not straight back like this, but I shuffled off a pivot 2 times, taking away his weak side. You understand? Jamal Charlo did the same thing to Derevyanchenko. He didn't just go straight back. He went in an arc. That's what I mean by pivot. Pivot is turn, right? See how I just turned right there? That's a pivot. So that's what you got to do with a Lomachenko, and it becomes easy work. That's what Floyd did with Pacquiao. That's why I try to explain to people pivot work, because a lot of people don't understand boxing. Period. But with Linares pivoted after Lomachenko pivot. So he always a step behind him. So if Lomachenko came in already, got lead for dominance, he's already to the weak side of Linares. Now Linares is looking to pivot. So he always a step behind Lomachenko. You can't do that. You got to respect difference. You're going to pivot, but you're going to pivot at respecting range. You want to keep that range between you and Loma. He allowed Loma to close the gap. And then what he does is he turns himself after Loma done already got the position on him. That's why I try to explain to people boxing, but a lot of people don't understand boxing, so they don't even understand what I was saying. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. So, yeah, man. Teofimo Lopez versus Lomachenko should be a good fight, man. We look forward to it. That's another big one. We got Tank versus Santa Cruz. That's gonna be a good fight too. It's gonna be a good fight. Hopefully we get Jamal Herring versus Carl Frampton before the end of the year, or probably the beginning of next year. So anyway, that's as much as I talk boxing. I enjoyed talking with you guys, man. And you guys stay in shape, stay ready. Let me give you guys a little tip, right? So if you guys are say you are overweight, or you big, you kind of out of shape, let me tell you something. One of the key things that makes people get ill and sick is because they sit down too much. You sit down too much. All right, peoples. Let me just give you guys this tip before I get out of here. So the tip is very simple. What you want to do is constantly move your feet. So you just get up from the desk and just do this little jib right here. With my feet. Just jog real slight, small little jog on the spot. And you just jog it on the spot. That's it. That's the key to it. And you'll be all right. Or do that. When you're sitting down, just move your feet up and down. Alright? But it's better to just jog on your feet, because your feet is the area that actually consumes the most energy in your body. So like right now, I'm just jumping up and down, jumping up and down, jumping up and down, jumping up and down. So that's a little tip for you guys. And it don't take a lot of energy to do it. Well, it does take a lot of energy. You might even work up a sweat. If you're in the workplace, do the same thing. Like if you're on a chair or something, in the workplace, right? Let me see. Oh. Okay, so if you're in the workplace, you sit down on a chair, just take your 2 feet and do something like this. Can you see my fucking feet? Right, and just do like this. And just let your feet work. But the best way for them to work is just you jogging on the spot right there. Just jog on the spot. Bounce up and down, bounce up and down, bounce up and down. Small little bouncing up and down. And it burns energy, a lot of energy. And it helps with your circulation. All you know is you start farting and shit. It's funny, but like literally, like I really need to go to use the bathroom now. All right, man, peoples. I'm going to catch you guys later. I'm what you need. Out of the building. Peace to everybody. Have a good week.